Alright, so my name is Rachel, and this tutorial is going to be specifically for beginners. So either you've never done any Ashtanga before, or maybe you've done a few classes and you want to work on things in a way with a little bit extra attention to detail, then that's the plan for today. So I'm going to teach some simpler versions of some complicated poses. I'm also going to teach more accessible transitions in between the poses. And we make things just slightly slower than the traditional version, so we add in some extra breaths. So before we get stuck into the technique, the first thing I want to clarify is the essence of the practice. So in my mind, we can understand the essence of practice as coming down to two different aspects. So the first one is that we're training the mind to stay present in the moment. And it sounds simple, but you find as you practice that it's quite a challenge. So it's a constant process of gently bringing your mind back to what's happening exactly in this moment. And then the second part is actually having an open-heartedness. So there's an openness to whatever's happening in the moment. So some days you arrive on your mat and you feel like everything's going very smoothly and you feel flexible and you feel strong and you've got energy. And then other days, quite the opposite. You feel like you're lugging around a bag of potatoes. And you have to try to adopt this feeling of openness to whatever is actually happening. So there's two facets: the being in the present moment and being open to the moment, whatever it is. Now, we'll start and end the practice with a moment of just simply connecting to a feeling of gratitude. So this can be gratitude towards your family, your friends, gratitude for your health, gratitude for any teachers who have inspired you. And once you've been practicing Ashtanga for a while, you may also want to think about gratitude for the lineage of students and teachers who've passed this down to you. So allow the eyes to close for a moment. And just take a few moments tapping into that feeling of gratitude. Okay, and then gently open the eyes. So there are three basic aspects that we're going to look at before we get into the dynamic part of the practice. So the first one is a detail about your posture. So when you're sitting up, you want to feel like your pelvis is level. Now, if I'm not sitting very high, if I'm sitting with my bottom flat on the floor, what tends to happen is my back rounds. So there's a feeling of collapse and the lower back is rounding, the belly is dropping back. If I sit too high, then there'll be the other feeling. I'll feel like I'm collapsing forward. I'm sort of arching my back too much. So you're trying to find a middle ground in between those two. So you have to play around with how much height do you need so that your pelvis is either level with or slightly higher than your knees. And as a result, there should be this feeling of an upright quality in the pelvis, neither slumping back nor tilting too far forward. And that same principle applies itself again in many of the other postures that we'll be looking at. The second thing, which is really a concentration tool in Ashtanga Yoga, is called drishti, and drishti means gazing place. So as we go through the more dynamic postures, I'll give you some instruction on where to look. And the idea is you try to keep your gaze fixed on one point so that you don't get distracted by what else is going on around you. And when I look, although I'm keeping my eyes fixed on one spot, it's almost like the place where I'm looking is slightly out of focus. So my gaze is soft and I'm taking in the peripheral vision rather than having a narrow vision of one spot. So So this is this idea of drishti, soft gaze. And then finally, in Ashtanga we use a breathing technique called the Ujjayi breath. And the Ujjayi breath involves having a slight sound to the breath, which helps you to be more aware of what's going on with your breath. So the way I'll get us to try this is by holding one hand in front of the face. And to start off with, breathe out through your mouth onto your hand as if you were steaming up a pane of glass or a pair of glasses. And then repeat the same process a couple more times. So you breathe out on the hand, breathing out through the mouth. And you hear that there's a slight sound to the breath. And then the next time you're going to practice the same thing, but you close your mouth halfway through. Good. Once more, just the same. And hopefully you hear when you're practicing in this way that the sound you're creating is coming from the throat. So it's a bit like the sound of the waves when you put a shell to your ear and there's that sound like the sea. Something like that. So there's a slight sound, but it doesn't sound like a sniffing sound. There's a softness to it. So let your hands rest on your thighs for a moment. Again, close the eyes. And then practice breathing in just the same way. So you practice making that sound on the out breath and also sound on the in breath. And to begin with, you might feel like it's a little bit odd. We're not used to breathing with sound, so you just have to get used to that. And you'll notice that the sound as you breathe in is slightly different to the sound when you breathe out. Keep continuously breathing with sound on both the in-breath and the out-breath. Try to make the sound of the breath smooth. And then for this last minute or so, keep breathing in just the same way, but start to slightly slow down your breathing and make your in-breath and your out-breath the same length. All right, and then carefully open the eyes. So this breath that we've been practicing, the Ujjayi breath, we use this throughout the Ashtanga practice. So anything you're sitting on, pop it off to one side. And then you're going to come to a kneeling position with the feet towards the back of the mat. So have toes together, knees slightly apart. And then I carefully walk the hands forward. And initially, my main focus is trying to get my bottom pressing back towards my heels. And I spread the fingers wide. Allow the head to release down for a moment. And line up your ears with your upper arms. Then look at your hands for a moment. Now, the area on your hand which you want to press down, it's like a horseshoe area, all the way around from the pad of the thumb right around the base of the knuckles. And then I try to leave this part, the base of the wrist, with very little weight. It was almost as if I could slide a piece of paper under there, which is, it can be challenging, but that's what you're aiming for. So you don't want to put too much pressure at the base of the wrist. So repeat the same posture again, replace the hands, spread the fingers wide, and then give your attention to the placement of the weight on the hands. So keep the weight at the base of the wrist very light, and then press down through that horseshoe shape in the hands. And then again, carefully release the head forward, ears in line with the arms. Start to breathe with sound to the breath. Again, see if you can make your in-breath and your out-breath the same length. From there, without disturbing the hands too much, tuck your toes under, press into your hands, and then press your chest back towards the thigh. So have your knees quite bent to begin with. Step your feet a bit wider than hip distance apart. If you're very stiff in the backs of the legs, then you just take the feet even as wide as the mat. Again, look at your hands for a moment and keep the same actions in the hand as before. So try and keep the base of the wrist light, all the other knuckles pressing down into the mat. And then look to the space between the feet for a moment. Good. And then carefully lower, knees back down to the floor. Bring the feet back to touch, and then slowly press back to child's pose. Good. Again, lower the head down. And keep the same actions in the arms, the hands. So straight arms, pressing down through the base of all the knuckles. And then we repeat that one more time. So tuck the toes under, press into the hands, lift the bottom up, press your chest back towards the thighs with the knees bent. Again, take the feet wider if you need to. And then slowly start to straighten the legs. Try and keep the weight at the base of the wrist light. Check you're not holding the breath. So breathe smooth, deep inhalations and exhalations. See if you can keep the breath the same length. And then again, lower the knees down. Release the hands to the knees. And then come up to a standing position. So start off standing not right at the front of your mat, a few inches back from the front of the mat. And then separate the feet and make the feet parallel. So we start with a few preparatory movements where we link the breath with sound and the movement. So I start with my arms down by my sides. As I inhale, I reach the arms up. I keep the arms wide and look up between the hands. As I exhale, I fold forward, I take the hands to the floor on the mat. I release the head down, knees can be bent. Inhale, I come to the fingertips, I look forward. On the exhale again, release the head down, hands flat on the floor. With the in-breath, push into the feet, stretch the arms up, come all the way up, look up. Exhale, release the arms down by the sides. And then we repeat the same process a couple more times. Slow in-breath, sweep the arms up at the sides, stretch the arms up, look up between the hands. Exhale, hands to the floor, relax the head and the neck as the head goes down. Inhale, come onto the fingertips, raise the head, look forward. Exhale, round the back, again release the head down. Inhale, come up to standing, stretch the arms up. Exhale, release the arms down by the sides. In between the postures, notice if your tendency is to come back and then let your head drop down. So you have to train yourself to look just slightly higher than your eye line, so your chin is roughly level to the floor. Last one, just the same. Again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, round the back, hands down, head down. Inhale, head up, look forward. Exhale, round the back, head down. Inhale, slow breath, stretch the arms up. Exhale, arms by the sides. From there we move to Sun Salutation A, so Surya Namaskara A. Now, classically the feet are together, but if you try with the feet together and you find that you just feel very unstable, then just like the last one, you'll have the feet slightly apart, but feet parallel. So in the same way, as I inhale, I reach the arms up. I bring the hands together, this time look up to the thumbs. As I exhale, I round the back, release the hands down, head down. Inhale, come onto the fingertips, raise the head, look forward. As you exhale, take the hands flat to the floor, step back into a plank position with the arms straight, and then bend the knees and slowly lower the body down to the floor. As you inhale, slide your hands slightly back, push the hands into the floor, arch the back, look forward. Exhale, tuck your toes under and press yourself back into downward facing dog. Again, widen the feet, even widen the hands, and then look to the space in between the feet. Give your first attention to your breath. So smooth in breath, smooth out breath. Listen to the sound of the breath. Inhale, step the feet forward. Come onto the fingertips, raise the head, look forward, keep the face relaxed. Exhale, round the back, release the head down. Inhale, come up to standing, stretch the arms up, look up. Exhale, release the arms down. Same again, couple more times. In breath, reach the arms up, look up to the thumbs. Exhale, fold forward, relax the head and neck. In breath, look forward. Exhale, hands flat, step back to a plank and then lower knees and whole body down to the floor. Inhale, slide the hands back, push into the hands, arch the back. Exhale, tuck the toes under, press back to downward facing dog. So 5 slow, steady breaths. As you look to the space in between the feet, make the gaze soft so the eyes are slightly out of focus. Feel the breath spreading into the back of the rib cage. Inhale, step the feet forward. Come onto the fingertips, raise the head, raise the chest. Exhale, round the back, release the head down. Inhale, raise the arms up. And exhale, release the arms down. Same again, one more time. On the very last movement, as a beginner, you often find you're running out of breath. So all the other movements, coordinating the movement and the breath can be quite easy. And on the last one, because I'm going all the way from the floor, right up to standing and stretching the arms, sometimes you get to about here and you realize you ran out of in-breath. So you have to get used to doing quite a quick movement and a slow breath. So last one. As you look higher than the eye line, again, make the gaze soft. Inhale, reach the arms up. Hands together, look to the thumbs. Exhale, round the back, hands to the floor, head down. Inhale, come onto the fingertips, look forward. Exhale, hands flat, step back, lower down. Inhale, slide the hands back, push up into upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes under, downward facing dog. 5 breaths. This time as you inhale, either step or possibly jump the feet forward towards the hands. Exhale, release the head down. Inhale, come up to standing. Quick movement, slow breath. Exhale, release the arms down. Second sun salutation, very similar to the first, where we add some extra movements in the middle. So you may find you want to watch and then join in with the second one and the third one. Otherwise, you can try and join at the same time. So as I inhale, again, I stretch the arms up. This time I bend the knees. With my exhale, I fold forward, hands to the floor, head down. Inhale, head up, same as before. Exhale, I step back, I lower, knees and then whole body down to the floor. Inhale, arch the back, so this part's all the same. Exhale, tuck the toes under, press back to downward facing dog. As I inhale, I turn the left foot in. As I exhale, I step the right foot forward. With the in-breath, I stretch the arms up, stretch the arms wide. Exhale there, relax your face. Inhale, keep stretching up through the fingers. Exhale, take the hands down to the floor. As you inhale, come onto the ball of the back foot, look forward. Exhale, step the back foot back to plank, lower your knees and your whole body down to the floor. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, turn the left foot in, turn the right foot in, step the left foot forward. Wait for the in-breath to stretch the arms up. Exhale there, face soft. Inhale, stretch up further through the fingertips. Exhale, hands to the floor. Inhale, come onto the heel of the back foot, look forward. Exhale, step the back foot back to plank, lower the knees and the whole body down to the floor. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, back to downward dog. Again, 5 breaths. Again, take the attention back to the hands. Try to keep the weight at the base of the wrist very light. And then strongly press back with your thighs to take some of the weight out of the hands. Inhale, step or jump the feet forward towards the hands. Exhale, round the back, release the head down. Inhale, bend the knees, hands up, look up to the thumbs. Exhale, arms by the sides. 2 more. Inhale, bend the knees, sit low, hands together, look to the thumbs. Exhale, hands to the floor, release the head down. Inhale, raise the head, look forward. Exhale, step back to the plank. Lower, whole body down to the floor. Inhale, slide the hands back, lift the chest. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, turn the left foot in. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Inhale, stretch the arms up, stretch the arms wide. Exhale there. Inhale, keep stretching the arms up. Exhale, hands to the floor. Inhale, lift the back heel, look forward. Exhale, step the foot back, lower down to the floor. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, turn the right foot in. Exhale, step the left foot forward. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale there. Inhale, still stretching up through the arms. Exhale, hands to the floor. Inhale, lift the back heel, look forward. Exhale, take the foot back, lower the knees, whole body down to the floor. Inhale, arch the back, look forward. Exhale, downward dog. Notice how when you get to downward dog in the second sun salutation, the breath tends to speed up. So So even though the breath is going a little faster, still try and make your in-breath and your out-breath the same length. Inhale, step or jump the feet forward. Exhale, round the back, head down. Inhale, bend the knees, hands up. Exhale, arms by the sides. Last one. So, inhale, bend the knees, sit low, sweep the hands up. Exhale, fold forward, hands to the floor, head down. Inhale, head up, look forward. Exhale, step the feet back, lower the knees and then the whole body down to the ground. Inhale, arch the back, look forward. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, turn the left foot in. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale there. Inhale, stretch the arms up straight. Exhale, hands to the floor. Inhale, lift the back heel, look forward. Exhale, step the leg back, lower the body carefully down to the ground. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, downward dog. From there, as you inhale, turn the right foot in and step the left foot forward. Wait for the in-breath to stretch the arms up. Exhale there. Inhale, keep stretching the arms. Exhale, hands to the floor. Inhale, lift the back heel, straight leg, look forward. Exhale, step back to plank, lower all the way down to the floor. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, downward dog. So 5 steady breaths. Make the breaths as calm as you can. Look to the space in between the feet. Check that the features of the face are soft. Inhale, step or jump the feet forward. Exhale, head down. Inhale, bend the knees, hands up. Exhale, arms by the sides. Good. From there, step your feet almost as wide as the mat with the feet parallel, hands on the hips. Exhale, allow the back to round. And then with the first 2 fingers of each hand, catch hold of the big toes and loop the fingers from the inside to the outside. As you inhale, raise your head, lift the chest, look forward. Exhale, round the back. Start by completely relaxing the neck and then slide your shoulders up away from your ears. Inhale, head up only. Exhale there. Inhale, Padahastasana. Take the palms of your hands under your feet. Again, inhale, head up. Exhale, round the back, head down. Let your gaze rest at the tip of your nose and keep listening to the sound of the breath. Make the breath as smooth as you can. Inhale, raise the head, look forward. Exhale, bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, push into the feet, stand up. And then exhale, step the feet back together. Good. All right. So for the next set of poses, sometimes I'll give you the instruction to firm your legs. And as a beginner, often that doesn't really make sense. So what I'm talking about is in poses where where you've got a straight leg, rather than having this muscle at the front of the thigh, the quadriceps, rather than this portion being relaxed, I have to tense it. And if you see the change in shape here from my knee, from here when it's relaxed to here when it's tense, and it basically stabilizes your knee. So again, start with the feet together. Gently roll the shoulders back. Stretch the fingers down towards the floor. As you inhale, step out to your right and step the feet about a leg's length apart. Stretch the arms wide. With your left foot, turn it just slightly in, and then with the right foot, turn it all the way out. Line up the heel of your right foot with the arch of your back foot. And then here I've got my foot turned all the way out, but my knee is doing something different. My knee, because of the tightness here in the hip, is slightly rolling in. So I have to spin not only my foot out, but I have to turn my thigh all the way out. So I keep the thigh rolling out. I wait for the exhalation to lightly rest my hand on my shin, and then I stretch the top arm up. For the time being, keep looking straight forward and make both legs firm. Listen to your own breathing. Try to make the in-breath and the out-breath the same length. Inhale, come up, stretch the arms. Turn the right foot slightly in. Turn the left foot all the way out. Again, line up heel to arch. From there, check that your thigh is spinning all the way out. So roll the left thigh fully out. And then as you exhale, lightly bring the hand to rest on the shin. Stretch the top arm up and then look straight forward. Fix your eyes on one spot in the distance and then make the gaze soft. So smooth, steady breath. Inhale, come up. From there, turn your right foot all the way out and then inch your right foot a little bit further over to the right. With your back foot, turn the foot in a 45-degree angle. And then if you've got some height handy, such as a brick, then you place it to the inside of your foot and you take a moment with your hands resting on the hips to square the hips to face the back edge of your mat. From there, I stretch the arms wide. As I exhale, I press strongly into both feet and I keep looking forward to begin with until I get about halfway down. From there, I take left hand down to the brick, other hand to the hip, and I lift my chest up and forward as much as I can. And then I roll the top elbow around to face the ceiling. From there, I squeeze my hips in towards each other. And then as long as I feel steady, I stretch the top arm up. Look straight towards the side of the room. Press your bottom hand down into the brick or to the floor. Stretch up through the top arm. Notice what's happening to your breath. Again, try to make your out breaths as long as your in breaths. Exhale, look down. Pick up the brick. As you inhale, stretch the arms wide and then turn to do the same thing on the opposite side. As I place the brick on the floor, I check that my back foot is at a 45-degree angle, and if you imagine that there was a line running down my mat, rather than being heel to heel, which is the classical method, when you're just starting out, you want to make it a little bit easier for yourself to balance. So you take the feet a little bit wider out to the side, then it's easier to get this turning at the hips. So I set the feet first, I take my time, and then brick to the inside of the foot. Inhale, stretch the arms wide. Exhale, go forward. Keep looking forward, press strongly into the feet. From there, rest the right hand on the brick, other hand on the hip, and then lift the chest up and forward as much as you can. From there, keep the face relaxed. Start to roll the top elbow around to face the ceiling and press the hand down into the brick. Squeeze your hips in towards each other, press into the feet, and then if you feel steady, stretch the top arm up. As you exhale, look down, pick up the brick, stretch the arms wide out to the sides, and then exhale, step back to the front of your mat and pop the brick somewhere off to one side where you won't knock it over when you keep practicing. Again, inhale, step out to the right again. Stretch the arms wide, and this time take your feet a little bit wider. So as I position the feet, they're roughly beneath the wrists. From there, I turn left foot just slightly in, right foot all the way out again. This time, as I exhale, I bend my knee, and importantly with the knee, your knee will probably want to do this, which is sort of drift inwards because you've got tightness in your hip. So you have to strongly keep pressing your knee back so your knee is directly in line with the foot, knee above the ankle. From there, I rest my elbow lightly on my knee. I stretch my top arm straight up, and I keep looking straight ahead. Make the breath smooth, make the breath steady. Keep the knee in line with the foot, and then try to roll your chest around to face the side. Inhale, come up, stretch the arms. Turn the back foot in, turn the front foot all the way out. Again, as you exhale, bend the knee, check where your knee is and check it's in line with the foot. Lightly rest the elbow down on the knee, and then stretch the top arm up. Good. As you stretch the top arm up, feel how you can turn the chest right to face the side. Again, keep the eyes still, smooth, slow, steady breath. Inhale, come up, stretch the arms wide. This time take the right foot, turn the right foot all the way out. Again, take it a little way over to the right. And with your left foot, come up onto the ball of the foot. As you exhale, take your left hand down to the floor, fingertips lined up with the edge of the toes, and then stretch the other arm straight up in the air. Look to the side, press down through the feet and the hand, squeeze your hips in towards each other, and then stretch up through the fingers of your top hand. Listen to the breath, make the breath as smooth as you can. Inhale, push into the feet to come back up to standing. Stretch the arms wide out to the sides. And then turn left foot all the way out. Come up onto the ball of the back foot. As you exhale, bend the left knee. Lower the right hand down to the ground. And then stretch the other arm straight up in the air. Push into the feet. Squeeze the hips in towards each other. And then stretch up more through the top hand, top fingers, top arm. Inhale, push into the feet, come up. Exhale, step back to the front of your mat. Good. Inhale, again step out to the right. This time rest the hands on the hips. Have the feet about as wide as they'll comfortably go, and check that your feet are parallel. For most of us, the feet have a tendency to do this, so you have to keep an eye on them. So feet parallel, hands rest on the hips. In the same way as we talked about in the initial sitting posture, I need to keep a levelness to the pelvis when I'm coming back to neutral in between postures. So often the tendency in this posture is, without realizing, I'm slightly arching my back and sticking my bottom out. So I have to resist that tendency. So there's a feeling that the front of the pelvis lifts up, back of the pelvis drops down, so there's this level quality. From there, as I exhale, I take the fingertips down to the floor. Inhale, raise the head, look forward. Exhale, round the back, take the hands flat to the floor. Completely relax the head and the neck. Make the breath smooth, make the breath even on the in-breath and the out-breath. Inhale, come back onto the fingertips. Raise the head, raise the chest, make the waist long. Exhale, hands to the hips. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, relax. B, second position with the hands. Inhale, stretch the arms wide. As you exhale, rest the hands on the hips. Inhale, lightly draw the elbows back without back arching. Exhale, round the back, go forward. Keep the hands on the hips. And you can use the hands on the hips to check that the lower back is rounding. So the lower back is not supposed to be flat in this posture. Slow, smooth breaths. Inhale, come all the way up on one breath. Exhale there. Now the next position with the hands, there are a couple of different options. So the classical method looks like this. So I'll just show you from the back. So the hand position classically is this, interlacing the fingers behind the back. And if you find it easy to do that, then that's the position you're going to do. The most important part is that I can draw my shoulders back towards each other. So there's a feeling that the shoulder blades here are coming close in, and you can see the wrinkles on the fabric as I manage to do that. Now, if you've got more tightness in the shoulders, then as an alternative, you can still extend the arms back. Instead of having the hands interlaced, you separate the hands slightly, but you create that same shape so that shoulders move further back than the chest, and then I move the shoulder blades back towards each other. So as I demonstrate the pose for 5 breaths now, I'm going to do the variation with the belt. If you do the variation with the hands interlaced, then prepare the hands now. Wait for the exhalation to go forwards into the posture. Relax the head and the neck, but check that you feel like your shoulder blades are still moving towards each other. Inhale, come back up to standing. If you've got the strap, pop it off to one side, and then rest the hands on the hips. Last position with the hands. Inhale, lightly draw the elbows back. Exhale, round the back. Catch hold of the big toes with the first 2 fingers of each hand. Inhale, lift the chest, look forward. Exhale, round the back, release the head down. If it's difficult for you to catch the big toes, then by all means catch hold of the ankles instead. Again, slightly lift your shoulders away from the floor so you feel like the neck is long. Inhale, raise the head, look forward. Exhale, hands to the waist, hover. Inhale, come up to standing, shuffle the feet a little bit closer in. And then with the exhalation, step the feet back to the front of the mat, arms by the sides. From there, bring the hands together in prayer position behind the back. And do this as best as you can. So the hands will look something like this. And if you find that your hands are nowhere near, then as an alternative, you're going to catch one wrist like so, and then you extend the arms back as you go forward. So either this position with the hands, or you'll be here with the hands in prayer. From there, keeping the hands in that position, again step out to the right. Turn the right foot all the way out to face the back edge of the mat. Turn the back foot in at a 45-degree angle, and then check that your feet are a little bit wider than heel to heel. With the hands behind the back, square the hips as best as you can towards the back edge of the mat. So the right hip pulls back, left hip pulls forward. From there, with the exhale, press strongly into your feet. Look forward to begin with, and then once you get past halfway, allow the back to round. Release the head down. Make both legs straight, both legs firm if you can. Lift the elbows up away from the floor to bring the hands closer together. Notice if your breathing got very quick in this posture. See if you can slow it down. Inhale, press into the feet to come up. Take an extra breath here as you turn the hips to do same posture, facing the opposite way. Again, square the hips as best as you can. So this time left hip draws back, right hip draws forward. Press strongly into the feet. Exhale, go halfway down, keep looking forward. And then gently round the back. Release the head forward. Press strongly into the inner edge of your front foot, the outer edge of your back foot, and make the breath as smooth as you can. Inhale, press into the feet, come up. Exhale, step back to the front of your mat. So next we've got 2 balancing poses in a row. So the first one, rest your left hand on your hip and shift your way over into your left foot. And at this point, if you try and you really struggle with the balance, then it's fine to have your left hand resting on a wall somewhere. And for the first couple of weeks, you practice like that until you get more steady on your feet. And then gradually you give less and less pressure with your fingers on the wall. So left hand on the hip. As I inhale, I raise the right knee. I roll the shoulders back. I find a point to fix my eyes on. Roughly eye level is good. And then I make my standing leg as straight as I can. Make the breath smooth, make the breath steady, even in breath, even out breath. Notice if you're pulling a funny expression with your face. So relax the lips, relax the forehead. With the exhale, take your knee halfway out to the side. Keep the lift of the chest. And if you feel very steady, then turn the head the opposite way. Again, 5 smooth breaths. Inhale, bring the knee back to center. Exhale, rest your hands on your hips, straighten your leg out, point the foot. Draw the elbows back and again look more like eye level. The breath will speed up at this part, that's fine. 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Good. Same on the opposite side. So as you inhale, kick up the left knee, roll the shoulders back. 5 breaths, keeping the face soft, standing legs straight. With your exhalation, take the knee out to the side. Again, turn the head the opposite way if you're steady. Inhale, bring the knee back. Exhale, stretch the leg out, hands on the hips. 1, 2, straight leg. 3, 4, and 5. Release the leg down. From there, we'll do Marichyasana, tree posture. So again, shift your way over onto your left leg. With your right hand, carefully bring the right foot to the inner thigh and bring the foot as high up as you can. To keep the foot in place, squeeze your foot and your leg together as strongly as you can. Try to keep your foot at this higher height. If you struggle and you can't get the foot to stay here, after trying for a decent length of time, then rather than having the foot lower down here where it's pressing on the knee joint, you're better to have the foot lower down more on the calf, so you don't put any pressure in the knee. From there, bring the hands to the center of the chest. If you're feeling steady, stretch the arms up above the head. And then give your full concentration to the breath. Exhale, release the hands to the chest and carefully release the foot. Same on the other side. So shift the weight over into the right foot. Carefully bring the left foot to the inner thigh. Good. Press the foot and the leg together and then bring the hands to the center of the chest. Slowly stretch the arms up. And notice the inner dialogue that goes on, either when you're finding the balance easy and there's a feeling of smugness, or when you're struggling with the balance and often you find you're getting quite irritable with yourself. So listen to the dialogue going on in your head. See if you can enjoy the pose, even if you're slightly struggling with the pose. Exhale, release the hands down to the chest. And then release the foot down to the floor. Next pose is Utkatasana. The inhale, stretch the arms up. Bring the hands together. Exhale, just like sun salutation, release the hands to the floor, release the head down. Inhale, raise the head, look forward. Exhale, take the hands flat to the floor, step back to plank, and then lower the knees and the whole body down to the floor. Inhale, arch the back, look forward. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. As you inhale, either step or jump both feet forward towards the hands, and then with the feet together, sit the bottom low, sweep the arms up, and look up to the thumbs. 5 steady breaths. Check that you're not overly arching the back, so just a natural curve to the lower back. With your exhalation, release the hands down to the floor, release the head down. Inhale, raise the head, look forward. Exhale, hands flat, step back to the plank, and then lower the knees and the chest down to the floor. Inhale, arch the back, look forward. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Good. So Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Start by turning your left foot in and step the right foot forward. Press strongly into the feet, and then with the in-breath, stretch the arms up. See if you can turn your hips so they're facing towards the front edge of your mat. If you feel steady and balanced, look up between the hands, otherwise keep looking straight forward. Spin your upper arms in towards each other so the palms face towards each other, and then stretch your arms up straight. From there, keep stretching the arms up straight, but change sides with the legs, so you pivot on the feet. So this time the left knee is bending, back leg straight, back heel on the floor. Fully stretch up through the arms, and again, if you feel steady, look up between the hands. Keep pushing strongly into the back leg, back foot, front knee bending. From there we go straight into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So the same knee stays bending, but I have to adjust the position of my back foot. So I go slightly longer in my stance, and my back foot is turned just slightly in for this pose. With the front foot, I line the heel of my foot up with the arch of the back foot. And then again, I deeply bend the knee, and I check my knee isn't drifting inwards, so it stays right in line with the foot, knee above the ankle. From there, I look to the fingertips of my left hand, and I make the breath as calm as I can. After 5 breaths, carefully change sides with the legs. As you bend the right knee, check the knee is in line with the foot. Press strongly into your back foot, and then look to the fingertips of the right hand. Exhale. Take both hands to the floor, step back to a plank, and then lower the knees and the whole body down to the floor. Inhale, slide the hands back, arch the back into upward dog. Tuck the toes under, press back to downward dog. As you inhale, just lower your knees down to the ground. And either sitting in kneeling position or any comfortable seated posture, just to watch how we transition from the standing poses through to the seated poses, because this transition will get repeated between the different seated postures. So the first thing to understand is I'm going from downward facing dog through to seated. And if you look at my arms in downward dog, there's this gap between the arms. Now I'm trying to get my body to fit through this gap. So it goes without saying that I have to make my body curled into a small shape to be able to get through. So eventually the posture, you just jump your knees into your chest, and with strength of the abdomen you manage to keep the knees in until you jump through. So eventually the posture looks something like this. And some people can do it on their first go, so it doesn't do any harm to try. And we follow the same principles of making everything small, even when we're not managing to jump through. So if I practice doing one leg at a time, I start in a very short downward dog pose. And then I come up onto the balls of the feet, I shift the weight forward into the hands. And then I raise my right knee into my chest, or left knee into my chest, and lower the top of the foot down. And I'm not tucking the toes under. So I've got the toenail side of the foot touching the floor. And it doesn't hurt because all the weight is in my hands. And then I do the same on the other side. So second knee into the chest. I'm crossing my legs roughly at the shins. And then I lower the legs down. I lower the bottom down. And I stretch the legs out. So when you practice this method stepping, you will gain strength just by drawing the knee in towards the belly. And you gain upper body strength. So it's a good way to work until you're strong enough to do the jumping through. So for the seated postures, for some people, you'll be able to sit on the floor. And of course we can all sit on the floor, but there's one thing that we're looking for to decide whether we're better off sitting flat on the floor or whether we want to be sitting a little bit higher up. And again, it comes back to the same concept that we were talking about in the first seated posture we did. So we're trying to keep this balance to the pelvis. So if when I sit on the floor with the legs straight, it feels like my sacrum here, at the back of the pelvis, if it feels like that's dropping back, then when I go forwards into a forward bend, I'm going to be putting quite a lot of pressure on the discs in between my vertebrae. So in that case, better to sit up on a height. For some people, a brick will be high enough, but if you've really got tightness in the backs of the legs, then you may need to sit up higher. It might be a layer of blocks beneath the bolster, quite a high height, so you can get the pelvis upright. So, for the sake of demonstration, I'll sit up on the brick. And then with the hands, draw the hands back. Bring the fingertips to the floor. And use the fingertips on the floor to roll the shoulders back so you feel a broadness across the chest. Maintaining the broadness in the chest. Look slightly down towards the big toes. And then allow the breath to start to slow down. So that last section of the standing postures, the warrior sequence, is very heating, it's very challenging. So here you get to the seated poses, you arrive, and everything starts to slow down. Consciously spread your breath into the back of the body, the sides of the rib cage, the front of the rib cage, and let the abdomen be quite relaxed. So second seated posture. The classical method, I catch hold of the big toes. This is called Paschimottanasana. I catch hold of the big toes and then I round the back forward. But for some people, if you're tighter in the backs of the legs, you'll find that you're not moving forward very easily from the hip, and then you're just rounding the upper back a lot. So if you're doing it and it looks like this, then it's not really going to do your back any good. In which case, my suggestion would be, for the time being, until the backs of the legs get more open, you use a strap around the balls of the feet. You sit up as tall as you can, and you widen the elbows out to the sides. You're still going to be getting a stretch along the back of the leg, You're just not going to be putting any pressure in the lower back. And you'll work like this throughout the seated postures. You don't have to go to the forward stage. This stage is going to be effective for the time being. So either with the strap or catching hold of the big toes. As you inhale, raise your head, lift your chest, keep the face relaxed. With the exhalation, gently round the back forward. Release the head, roughly in line with the arms. And then tune into the breath. So even in breath, even out breath. You might find it's easier to make the breath slow. Now you're moving into the forward bends. Feel the breath moving in the back of the body. Inhale, raise the head, lift the chest. Second position with the hands. Exhale there, relax. And then take the hands to the sides of the feet this time. Again, inhale, head up, lift the chest. Exhale, round the back forward. If the posture feels intense in the backs of the legs, try to zoom out your attention. So you take in the whole of the body rather than having your whole attention fixed on that one place where it feels intense. Inhale, raise the head, lift the chest. Exhale. Release. Cross the legs and pop any height off to one side. Again, the next part is a transition which we call a vinyasa. So these movements from seated to, from downward dog through to seated, and then from seated back through to downward dog, we call it vinyasa. So just watch and then I'll get us to practice together for this next little bit. So you start with the legs crossed, and then I put my hands on the floor, a little bit further than my bottom, so in line with the sides of the thighs. As I inhale, I press my hands down and I lift up. If you're already quite strong, you might find that the feet lift, but for most people what tends to happen is that you lift, you can get your bottom to lift, but you can't get the feet to lift. And then that's your moment of exertion. So you've done your inhale lift, then you lower your bottom down. You take your hands forward to the front of your mat and you step or you jump your feet back to the plank position. From there, lower the knees and whole body down, just like you did in the sun salutations. Then slide the hands back. Inhale to upward dog. Exhale back to downward dog. So we'll practice that movement, that vinyasa together. So, legs crossed. Press the feet down, press the hands down. As you inhale, lift up, bottom feet if you can, and then take your hands forward, step your feet back, lower your knees and your whole body down as you exhale. Inhale, arch the back into upward dog. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. As you inhale, either see if you can jump the feet through the arms or come one leg at a time, keeping the weight in the hands with control. Lower the bottom down. From there we take Purvottanasana. So take the feet at least hip distance apart, feet parallel. Feet quite close in towards your bottom. With the hands, take them a good foot back from the body, spread the fingers wide. Inhale, press the hands down, puff the chest up. Exhale, press the feet down, lift the hips up. To begin with, keep looking forward towards your knees and make sure your hips are as high as your knees. If you find that your knees are going wide out to the sides, then bring them closer together so they're roughly parallel. Again, 5 steady breaths. Exhale, release down. Cross the legs. So again, we take this vinyasa movement. The inhale, press the hands down, lift up. Exhale, hands forward, jump or step the feet back, lower down. Inhale, arch the back, look forward. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, step or jump the feet through to a seated position. And then again, stretch the legs out. So for this next posture, Ardha Baddha Padma Paschimottanasana, there are a couple of different options. So the first thing I want you to try is have your right knee bent and cradle underneath your ankle and your knee with your hands. And you're trying to get a feeling of whether your leg is releasing down easily. So for the next posture, the traditional method requires you to have quite a lot of looseness, openness in this hip. And if I just try and force myself into the posture when my hip isn't open enough, chances are I'm just going to hurt my knees. And knees don't repair themselves very easily, so you do need to take caution with this one. So I cradle the knee and the ankle in the hand. And I try and get a feeling like if my hands weren't there, my leg would just drop down, as opposed to holding it and then letting go and my leg is just stuck there rigid. So I let the leg relax as much as I can. And then I take my knee back as if it's going towards my armpit. And then I draw my heel close in towards my belly button. From there, I carefully bring my knee a little bit inwards and I see where my foot has come to rest. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see on here, but my foot is resting just above the bulk of my quad muscle. So it doesn't hurt for my foot to sit. It's like there's a groove there that my foot is sitting in, which makes it quite comfortable for my foot. If, however, your knee is very high up and it doesn't feel like it's releasing down, then instead you're going to do this with the foot. So foot to inner thigh, still opening the hip, but there's no risk of hurting your knee. So you're either going to be here with the foot in half lotus, and if your knee is a little way off the ground, then I suggest using some support beneath the knee. From there, I try to bind the hand around. Now, it's counterintuitive because if I'm trying to catch my foot, I tend to want to look at my foot. But to be able to get the turning action I need, I actually have to look away from my foot. So I'm turning towards my right, I reach my hand around, I catch hold of the big toe, and then I reach the other hand forward to the side of the foot. As I exhale around the back, I release forward, again 5 breaths. If you're doing the foot to inner thigh variation instead of half lotus, then just take both hands to the sides of the front foot. Breathe calmly as you elongate the spine forward in the posture. Inhale, raise the head, lift the chest. Exhale, carefully release. And then try the same on the other side. And often you'll find that you're asymmetrical. So one side, it might be comfortable to do half lotus, other side it might not. So you just go very cautiously. So I start in the same way. I cradle my knee, I cradle my ankle. I try to let the leg release down as much as I can. And then I check that there's no pain in the knee. From there, I draw my knee back towards my armpit. I carefully guide my heel close in towards the belly button. And then I bring the knee a little bit in. And sometimes you have to slightly adjust your foot so it's out of the way of this bulk of muscle. And then again, I bring in a little bit of support. From there, bind the hand around, or foot to inner thigh. And then reach forward for the front foot, gently round the back. Inhale, raise the head, lift the chest. Exhale, release, cross the legs. Inhale, press the hands down, lift up. Exhale, hands forward, step back, lower down. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, downward dog. Tiryang Mukha Ekapada Paschimottanasana. Inhale, step or jump through to a seated posture and stretch the legs out. From there, come to sitting up on a brick. And then have the left leg straight, lean a little bit to the left, carefully bend your right leg back. Position your knee so there's a little gap between your straight leg and your bent leg, a couple of inches or so, and then try to get your foot to point straight back. So often, if I'm not paying attention, my foot will want to curl around with my toes coming in towards my bum. But I try and keep both the inner and the outer edge of the foot on the floor, foot going back in one straight line. From there, use your right hand and lightly lift up the front of the right knee, so you free up the front of the quad. As you inhale, reach forward for the front foot. Exhale, round the back. Release the head forward. Naturally, if you're in the pose and there's discomfort in the bent knee, then you come out and sit on something higher. You could sit on a stack of blocks or stack of blankets. You sit on as much height as you need to feel like you're not putting pressure in the right knee. Gently slide your shoulders away from your ears. Inhale, raise the head, raise the chest. Exhale, carefully release. And then same on the opposite side. So lean a little bit to the right side as you bend the left leg back. Check that the foot is going back straight. And my bottom is just slightly to the side of my heel. So there's no gap between my heel and my bottom, but I'm not sitting on my foot. From there, again, I inhale, reach forward for the foot. Exhale, round the back. And then re-establish the concentration on the breath. So 5 slow, smooth, steady breaths. Inhale, head up, lift the chest. Exhale, carefully unthread the leg. Slide forward, pop the brick off to one side, and then cross the legs. From there, again, inhale, press the hands down, lift the bottom, lift the feet if you can. Exhale, take the hands forward, step the feet back, lower the knees down, lower all the way down. Inhale, arch the back, look forward, keep the face relaxed. Exhale, tuck the toes under, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step or jump through to seated. Janushasana. So again, sit up on a height if you know that your pelvis tends to tilt back when you're sitting flat on the floor. And then keep the left leg straight. Carefully draw the right foot to the inner thigh. Now for some people, when you bring the foot into this position, there's some discomfort in the knee. So if that's the case, then you do same posture, but you just take the foot a little bit further away. So there's a different angle here, which is just easier on your knee. Otherwise, have the foot right up close to the top of the thigh. From there, inhale, reach the hands or the strap forward for the foot, lift the head. Exhale, round the back, go forward. Notice if your in-breath is longer than your out-breath. Try to make the out-breath as long as the in-breath. Inhale, lift the head, lift the chest. Exhale, carefully change sides. So left foot to the inner thigh. With the in-breath, catch hold of the foot, lift the chest. Exhale, round the back, release the head forward. Inhale, head up, lift the chest. Exhale, cross the legs. So the last posture, Janushasana, has 3 different variations. The one we just did is A, so that's the simplest of the 3 variations. So you're just here doing foot to inner thigh. The next variation is very similar, but slightly more challenging. So we're going to skip the vinyasa in between the poses for Janu A, B and C, in case you're getting a little tired. And then you start with right foot to inner thigh again, fingertips by your sides. From there, press the fingertips down and slide your bottom forward until your bottom is sitting literally on your heel, usually further forward than you think. My knee comes in just slightly, but I'm not bringing it all the way in. From there, again, inhale, reach forward, catch hold of the foot, lift the chest. Exhale, gently round the back forward. Bear with the intensity in the top of the foot, the ankle. Make the breath as smooth and as relaxed as you can. If there's discomfort in your right knee in this position, then just go back to the previous version. So have your foot to inner thigh without sitting on the foot. Last breath in the posture. Inhale, head up, lift the chest. Exhale, slide back, and then carefully change sides. So left foot to the inner thigh. I press the fingertips down. I lift up and slide forward. As I inhale, I reach forward, catch hold of the foot. Exhale, round the back forward. Notice how one side of the rib cage is higher than the other, and see if you can gently adjust it so the left side of the rib cage drops down a little, the right side lifts up. Inhale, head up, lift the chest. Exhale, slide back. Again, start in the position like Janushasana A. And then this third variation, Janushasana C, I thread my right arm through the gap between my thigh and my lower leg. And then I take the fingers so that they're here at the big toe, other hand at the heel, and I gently angle my toes down and my heel up, so my toes are tucked under. First thing I do is check there's no pain in the knee. If there's pain in the knee, then instead you're going to do something that looks like this. So I have my toes down, knees down, so my toes are tucked under. And then I interlace the fingers like so, and I stretch the arms up. So if there was pain in your knee when you were trying to get into that posture on the right side, then you hold this posture and you'll do it whilst we're doing both right and left sides. And I warn you, it's quite intense. You're still getting a stretch in the feet. So otherwise, you're here with the hand carefully curling, toes under, heel up, and then you slightly slide your bottom forward so the heel comes higher up. From there, inhale, reach the hands forward. Exhale, gently round the back forward. Slow breaths make the face relaxed. Notice where you feel the movement of the breath in the pose. Inhale, head up. Exhale, carefully release. It's the same process on the opposite side. I bend the leg first like Janushasana A. Then I thread my arm through the gap. I carefully adjust toes down, heel up. And then I slide my bottom slightly in. Give more attention to this side, the straight leg side of your pelvis being down, rather than this knee being down. From there, inhale, reach forward, catch the foot. Exhale, round the back, release the head down. Inhale, head up, lift the chest. Exhale, carefully release, cross the legs. Again, we take vinyasa. Inhale, press the hands down, lift up. Exhale, hands forward, step or jump yourself back to the plank. Lower the knees, then the whole body down. Inhale, arch the back to upward dog. Exhale, press back to downward dog. Marichyasana A. Inhale, step or jump through to seated. Straighten the legs out, and then bend the right leg up. Leave a gap of just a couple of inches between your right foot and your left thigh. And then lean a little bit over to your left and stretch your right arm forward. And creep your hand as far forward as you can. If the hand doesn't touch the floor easily, then catch hold of your left foot and use that to help you pull the chest as low down as you can. So I spend a few extra breaths preparing here, pulling the chest forward. From there, with my right arm, I take the arm out to the side. I roll the arm inwards, so my palm faces up towards the ceiling. And then I bend the elbow, and I try and catch the fingertips behind the back. From there, with the exhalation, round the back, release the head forward towards the straight leg. And if you can't catch the fingers behind the back, then you can use a strap behind the back between the hands, so creating the same shape. Inhale, head up only. Exhale. Carefully release, change sides. So again, I start with this preparatory few breaths with left knee bending up, left arm stretches forward, and I either try and keep the left hand as far forward as I can, or if I need to, I catch hold of the right foot and I use the foot to draw the chest forward. And this preparation helps me to get into the tightness, the stiffness in the inner groin, which is often what's preventing us from going forward in the posture. From there, I stretch the left arm wide out to the side. I spin the arm up. I bend the elbow. And then again, catch the fingertips or catch the belt behind the back. And I wait for the exhalation to round the back and take the head forward and down. Breathe into the tightness, the intensity in the posture. Try to stay present with the sensations in the body and keep a balanced quality of mind. Inhale, head up only. Exhale, cross the legs. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hands forward. Step back and lower the body down. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, downward dog. Marichyasana B. Inhale, step through to a seated posture. And then Marichyasana B is very similar to A. So again, you've got this forward bending posture. This time, instead of having my left leg straight, I have my left leg threading through the gap between my right heel and my right buttock. And you'll notice here that my right buttock isn't flat on the floor, and it's not supposed to be. So don't worry when you find that when you're getting into the posture yourself. So lean over to the left side, and again, prepare in the same way as you did for Marichyasana A. So creep your right arm as far forward as you can. Bring your chest as low down to your thigh as you can. Stay here 2 or 3 breaths. From there, same position with the arms as before. So stretch the right arm out to the side, roll the arm in, and then catch the fingertips or catch a belt behind the back. As you exhale, round the back, release the head down. Completely relax the neck. Notice if the breath has got very shallow in this posture. See if you can slow the breath down. Inhale, raise the head, look forward. Exhale, release, change sides. So this time, left knee bends up, right foot threads through the gap. And then I stretch the left arm straight forward. And I take 2 or 3 breaths here at this preparatory phase. From there, again, loop the arm around the back, catch hold of the fingers or catch hold of the belt. Exhale, round the back, release the head down, relax the neck. Inhale, head up, look forward. Exhale, release. Cross the legs. Inhale, press the hands down, lift up. Exhale, step the feet forward, step the legs back, and lower the knees and the chest down. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, downward dog. Marichyasana C. Inhale, come through to seated. Again, stretch the legs out straight. Come to sitting up on a brick. And then again, bend the right leg up. So the first two Maricyasanas, Marichyasana A, Marichyasana B, you're both going forward, or going forward in both. The next two you are twisting to the side. So first I twist to my right. So I start with my left arm looping around my right knee, and then my back fingertips on the floor. And I use my hand to try and get my thigh as close in towards my ribs as I can. If that's happening relatively easily, then I can go to the next stage and bring elbow to the outside of the knee. Still using the back hand to help me sit up tall and turn the ribs around. Finally start to turn the head towards the back of the room. And naturally the breath tends to get quicker in this posture, I find. So consciously slow your breathing down. Slow in breaths, slow out breaths. Breathe into the tightness that you hit at the back of the rib cage. Try to make the expression on your face as if you're just gazing out of the window of the bus. Gently release the arms, and then same on the opposite side. So bend the left knee up. Start by hugging the arm around the knee, fingertips back behind you. Sit up as tall as you can, and then strongly turn the rib cage to face the thigh. Again, if you're finding that easy, bring the elbow to the outside of the knee, and then push the elbow lightly into the knee to help you turn the chest to face the side. Lastly, start to turn the head. So take full, deep, slow breaths. Make the face passive. Inhale, come back to center. Cross the legs, slide forward off the brick. Pop the brick off to one side. And then if you've got the energy, again vinyasa. So inhale, press the hands down, lift up. Exhale, hands forward, step or jump back and lower, knees then whole body down to the floor. Inhale, arch the back to upward dog. Exhale, press back to downward dog. Inhale, come through to Ardha Matsyendrasana. Again, come to sitting up on the brick. So I said already that there's 4 Maricyasanas, and the 4th Marichyasana is quite advanced, so we're doing a different variation for the purpose of this video. So this posture is called Ardha Matsyendrasana. So you start with both knees bending. From there, take your left foot under your right, and then take your right foot to the outside of your left knee. From there, same as before with the arms, you start hugging the knee in, fingertips back behind you. And if that's coming very easily, then you can try elbow to the knee. But otherwise, use whichever hand position is going to get you to have the best turning of the chest, best turning of the belly initially. Relax the belly. Gently turn the head and the neck towards the back of the room. Try to create even length along the back of the neck and the front of the throat. Inhale back to center. Carefully undo the legs. And then same on the opposite side. So this time, right foot goes under, left foot comes across. And then I turn the hands. Back fingertips behind me. press your front foot down into the mat. And then use the hands to help you turn the trunk. Softly lengthen upwards with the breath. Check that the belly is relaxed. Inhale, back to center. Again, cross the legs. Slide forward, pop the brick off to one side. Inhale, press the hands down, lift up. Exhale, hands forward. Step or jump back to the plank. Knees and whole body down to the floor. Inhale, arch the back, look forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now Navasana, boat pose. Inhale, step or jump the feet through to seated. From there, bend the knees, bring your hands to the backs of the knees, and then start by leaning back slightly. And it's like your belly sucks in closer to the spine and your lower back tries to lift up away from the floor. So both your belly and your lower back are moving in towards the spine. So there's this contained feeling to the posture. So create that feeling of lower back lifting up, belly sucking in, come onto the tiptoes, and then slowly raise one leg, and then other leg. Take the heels a little bit lower than your knees. Look straight forward and breathe. Keep the action of lower back lifting away from the floor. 5 breaths. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to the floor. Inhale, lift the bottom, possibly lift the feet if you can. Exhale, come down. Same again, hands behind the knees. Lift the legs slowly. Keep the lower back lifting away from the floor. 5 breaths. Look straight forward. Relax the forehead, relax the lips. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, come down. Same again, 5 more breaths. 1, 2, keep the elbows wide out to the sides so you're broad at the chest. 3, 4, 5. Inhale, lift. Exhale, come down. 2 more. 1, 2, free breathing. 3, 4, 5. Inhale, lift. Exhale, last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And release. Cross the legs. Again, inhale, lift up. Exhale, hands forward. Step back to the plank. Lower the knees, the whole body down. Inhale, arch the back into upward dog. Exhale, press back to downward dog. Inhale, jump or step through to seated. And then come to Setu Bandhasana. So watch to begin with. I start with my feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart, feet parallel, and feet close in towards my bottom. From there, I lie myself slowly down on my back. Then I catch hold of the sides of the mat. So I have to check that I'm lying in the center of the mat. My hands grip the sides of the mat. And then I press the feet down and I lift the hips up. From there, with the hands still gripping the mat, I spin the arms out one at a time. So I fully roll one arm out and then fully roll the second arm out. And I feel how the chest lifts up. And now you should feel like there's no weight on your neck. There'll be weight on the back of the head, but most of the weight should be on the ridge of the shoulder blade. If you can feel the back of the neck against the mat, then slightly take your chin away from your chest to create more space between the neck and the floor. Guide your knees slightly inward. And then exhale, slowly release yourself all the way down to the floor. Rest for a breath, and then we'll do 2 more cycles. From there, press the feet down, lift the hips up. Spin the arms out one at a time. As you press the feet down, direct your tailbone towards the back of the knee so the lower back is long. Look in towards the center of the chest. Even though there's an intensity to the pose, see if you can keep the face relaxed, breath smooth. And then wait for the exhalation to lower slowly down. Come flat to the floor. Take a full cycle of breath to rest. And then last cycle. Inhale, press the feet down. Lift the hips up. Roll the upper arms out. Keep the inner rotation of your thighs. So the thighs will naturally want to move out to the sides, but you try and keep them parallel. And you have to feel your way. You can't see the thighs in this. So face soft, breath smooth. Last couple of breaths. Press the heels down. Exhale. Slowly lower down. From there, draw the right knee gently into the chest. And then release. With the exhale, draw the left knee slowly into the chest. And then hug both knees into the chest and use momentum to rock yourself up to seated. And often you find this takes a few tries. From there, stretch the legs out in front of you. And if you were sitting on a brick before for the forward bends, again sit up on a brick for this one. So again we take Paschimottanasana, catching the sides of the feet. Inhale, raise the head, lift the chest. Exhale, round the back, release the head forward. Take 10 full slow breaths. So here we take the forward bend straight after the back bend to help release the lower back. Let your gaze rest at the tip of the nose. Let there be a feeling of a quietening to the attention. Inhale, raise the head, look forward. Exhale, release. And then for the final few minutes, if you had a bolster to sit on before, then come to sitting back up on a bolster. And we start in a similar way to the way, we end in a similar way to the way we started. So I come to sitting cross-legged, and I position myself so that my knees are either level with my hips or just slightly lower, so there's this upright quality in the pelvis. From there, I bring my hands to rest on my knees. Index finger and thumb come to touch. And then I stretch the other 3 fingers out. Gently roll the shoulders back. Feel the lift across the top of the chest. And then ever so slightly release the chin forward. Let your gaze rest beyond the tip of the nose. And then, still controlling the breath, start to slow the breath down. So we take a couple of minutes here, regulating the breathing, making the in-breath and the out-breath the same length. Keep the gaze steady. Keep the posture relatively relaxed. If you find your mind drifts away from the attention on the breath, then try not to be frustrated. Just gently bring the mind back to the breath. The frustration is usually counterproductive. From there, allow the eyes to close. Let go of any effort to control the breath. And for this last minute or two, try to observe your breath without making any changes to the breath. And don't be surprised if you find this quite a challenge. There's a part of us that has this idea of how the breath is supposed to be. And then even without trying, as soon as we observe the breath, we start to try and interfere with the breath. So that's not an uncommon experience, and yet you try your best to just observe the breath as it is, whether it's deep or shallow, whether it's smooth or jagged. A simple observation of the breath. Breath as it is. Keeping the eyes closed, gently bring the hands together in front of the chest. Slightly bow the head. And then again, take a moment to connect to a feeling of gratitude. A simple feeling of gratitude for anything you have to be grateful for, and of course for any benefits that you feel from the yoga practice. Gently release the hands down, slowly open the eyes. So for the next little period, I'm going to guide you through a period of relaxation in Shavasana, corpse pose. So if you're not lucky enough to be in somewhere quite as hot as this, then you might want to hit pause and just put on a cozy jumper and some socks and get a blanket. And then when you lie yourself down, you try to lie yourself so that you're lined up right in the center of the mat. So if I line up in the center of the mat, I try to position myself symmetrically. So feet a few inches apart so that my legs just naturally flop out to the sides. There's no effort to try to keep the legs engaged in this posture. And I check that I have enough space at my sides where I'm going to be able to stretch the arms out. And often it helps with the relaxation to have something soft beneath the head. So a soft blanket will do the trick. Then I lie down slowly and I start with the knees bent. I use the hands and I gently bring the blanket underneath the head. And I check that it's supporting the neck as well as the head. From there I stretch the arms a little way out to the sides with the palms facing up. Allow the eyes to close. With the knees bent up, check that the lower back feels comfortable. If there's discomfort in the lower back, then keep the knees bent for the first 2 or 3 minutes as I guide the relaxation. If the back is feeling relaxed or comfortable, then stretch the legs out one at a time. Feel how the entire weight of the body is supported by the ground beneath. start by taking your attention to the back of the neck and release the weight of the head down to the blanket or to the ground beneath. From there, move the attention across the scalp and around to the forehead. Relax the forehead and imagine that someone is using their fingers to smooth the skin of the forehead from the center out to the sides. Release the space in between the eyebrows. Relax the skin around the eyes. Relax the temples. Let the lips be slightly apart. Fully relax the cheeks and feel like the flesh of the cheek could fall back into the hollow of the cheek. Relax the lips. Imagine that you can relax the gums, the teeth. Relax the tongue. Allow the tongue to become still. Soften the front of the throat. And then take the attention down to the front of the chest. Feel the slight movement of the chest with the breath. Take a couple of deeper exhalations as you soften the front of the chest. Imagine that even beneath the surface of the chest, you can relax right at the center of the chest in the space of the heart. Take the attention down to the belly. Soften the belly. From the belly, take the attention across to the fingertips and then up through the hands. Completely relax the forearms. As you relax the upper arms, feel the weight of the arms drop back to the floor. From the upper arms, take the attention to the upper back. Let the upper back spread against the mat. Relax the whole of the back of the trunk. Let go of any tension in the buttocks. Relax the thighs. Relax the calves. Relax the feet. And imagine the skin of your whole body softening. As thoughts drift in and out of the mind, notice the thoughts, but try not to get wrapped up in them. And whenever there's a pause between one thought and the start of the next, rest your full attention in that space between the thoughts. If you're feeling deeply relaxed, then stay relaxing for another 5 or 10 minutes. Otherwise, gently bend the knees up. Stretch the arms up overhead. Gently roll onto one side. And when you're on one side, let your head rest on your outstretched arm. Curl the knees a little way into the chest. And then bring the head up last as you use the hands to gently press yourself upright. Come back to a seated posture for a moment. So we're going to finish there. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you've got questions or comments, then please feel free to give us.